Hi, I'm John Molesky, host of Dialogue, and we're at the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars on the set of Dialogue, where I just completed a discussion with our guests about this notion of an integrated approach to environmental concerns. It might not be readily apparent to all of you, but there's so much overlap that these gentlemen are in the forefront of identifying and helping people and nations around the world approach their problems in that manner. Our guests are Geoff Dabelko, Roger Mark de Souza, and George Strunden. And gentlemen, let me start with the big question, and I'll start with you, Roger Mark. How much is population tied to environmental concerns and population growth specifically?
Population growth is a critical factor that helps amplify the impacts of other key components that affect the environment. So looking at consumption levels, the number of people in a population has a direct impact on the environment.
Most important environmental issue, or just on a list of very important things?
I would say on a list of environmental issues, but particularly looking at CO2 emissions, questions around land use, questions around fisheries, so the critical environmental issues.
George, this notion of integrated development, could you provide sort of the lay definition? Sometimes jargon can be confusing to people. What do we mean by that?
Integrated development addresses multiple issues which are relevant to people in areas where we work. This is health generally, education, agriculture, marketing of products they produce, access to loans, microfinance, and we want to address these issues in a way as they are requested and identified as priorities by the people we work with.
Do developers around the world, do they get it?
I think they do. I think the folks engaged in the enterprise of trying to help the world's poor understand that the poor face multiple challenges, and we have to have multiple ways to help support them meet those challenges. I think there's some impediments, however, to this approach, some of which are knowledge-based. People have their own specialties and they're comfortable with the tools and the knowledge that they have in working in that area. Sometimes one can only get funding to work in those areas, and it limits our ability to work across them. So I think there's a recognition of the connections, if perhaps still some underappreciation of it. But the challenge is turning that recognition into action, action on the ground to meet the integrated challenges of the world's poor.
Gentlemen, thank you. And if you're watching on YouTube and would like to see the entire 30-minute interview with our guests, come to our website, www.wilsoncenter.org. Look at the upper right-hand side of the screen. You'll see a dialogue tab. Click there, and you'll find the entire 30-minute interview. Thanks.